and I think it's really the only one that gets us into a good conversation and argument, is ultimate human self-determination. Ultimate human self-determination. That's my definition of free will that does not exist. And by that I mean, let's just take our salvation, because that's where the rub is most keen. At that moment, when all the influences of the Holy Spirit have brought me to a point of conviction and fear and hope, and I'm not yielded yet to Jesus, at that moment where I could pass over into faith or not, into no condemnation or not, what is the ultimate decisive influence at that moment? Nothing, I'm not talking about before, not talking about after, I'm talking about that moment where you move. And my answer is the grace of God. And a person who believes in ultimate human self-determination would say, no, I myself decide decisively at that moment, not God. Not God. That's the dividing line. And I don't think that is anywhere in the Bible. I don't think you can show me one single Bible verse that teaches ultimate human self-determination. Now, what the person probably means by free will is not that. I don't know. But rather, is my choice real or isn't it? Am I a robot or aren't I a robot? Do I have to choose or don't I have to choose? And the answer to all those is, you're not a robot and you do have to choose and your choice is real. And if that's what you mean by free will, amen. We're in it together and they both exist. And I think in the average layperson's mind, that's all they mean. They haven't thought any further than that. Do I have to choose? Is choice real? Am I being dangled with strings? And the answer is you're not. God, and here's a place where I'm willing to stop and behind which I won't go for mystery. If you were to say, how can that be? How can God be absolutely sovereign over the human will and I still be held accountable for making a decision that's going to be either blameworthy or praiseworthy and will either determine whether I am a believer or not a believer? How can my choice be real, authentic, accountable if this sovereign piece is true? And I would say, you don't need to know that. I doubt that the Bible answers that question. I've got a few texts I could go to that might help us forward a little bit in understanding how it happens. But there are some things in the Bible and in reality that we need to put our hands over our mouths and say, this side of glory and maybe forever, we don't need to know that. One more comment, which for me means, at least my kind of Calvinism, I think, has a pretty high tolerance of mystery. A lot of Calvinists are accused of having an overweening commitment to logic to the point where they don't let anything be mysterious. Everything has to be accounted for, which is why they get into the kind of fixes they do. I've never met one of those, and I'm not one. I don't know how the first evil act performed by Lucifer, make of it what you will. I don't know how the first evil act of Lucifer happened. And to say he had free will is not an explanation. It's a name. It's a name put on a mystery. You can put that name on it if you want to. It doesn't help me at all. It doesn't help you at all. How did it happen that on one clear day in eternity, a perfect being decided he would not be perfect? I have no answer for that. And the second thing I don't know, among the list of many, is how God so governs the human will to get his will done that the human will remains an authentic, blameworthy, praiseworthy will. I don't know. He just does, because the Bible says he does. It's what I would expect, frankly, in a world where there are humans created in his image who are responsible before him to love him and serve him, and he, being a creator God, governs all things. It's just the way it is. But I don't base that on logic, like it has to be that way. If God is God, it has to be that way. No. If the Bible says it, it has to be that way. Because just think of it. Think of this. I mean, just look at John Piper Ritter. Do you realize how tiny, small, fallible, sinful he is? I mean, he is the tiniest speck in the universe of insignificance. And he's going to tell God what God can do. Come on. Either we've got a book or we're playing games. We've got a book from God that tells us things we could never begin to come up with on our own. I'm not coming up with it. I want to stand before people and speak what God has spoken. And if he hasn't said it, I'm not going to force anybody to believe it. Right. It's just way, way over my head, above my pay grade.
As we close and you look out at all the people that are here doing